The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
The Alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. I'm still just recovering from the latest visual dad joke that has been sent to me by James. Thank you so much for doing that, James. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, yeah, I will put it on the screen. You can be the judge of that. But I think I should issue a dad joke warning for sure. Oh, what's this? A record-breaking Portugal exports more than 76 million pairs of shoes. That was a recent Learn About Portugal quiz answer. The answer to a question, how many pairs of shoes does Portugal export? I think that was the record-breaking year of 2019, latest figures, 76 million. I mean, it took a lot of counting. No wonder it's only 2019 that we've got the data for. That's a lot of pairs of shoes to count, isn't it? And who knew? Portugal, 76 million pairs of, I think it's footwear, to be fair, but that just sounds a bit weird, doesn't it, when you're expressing it as a meme? Anyway, I apologize in advance for the dad jokes, the visual dad jokes, certainly, that I'll be sharing this morning. Good morning to you, the three wise men, I think, of the Gumpocalypse who are in from the start. And if a lot of this language and referencing sounds a little bit esoteric, forgive me. If you're new to the Good Morning Portugal show, let me welcome you with open arms, as I'm sure everybody does here. I'm speaking on behalf of all the Gumpers. You might not want to call yourself a Gumper. You might not even know what that is. A Gumper is somebody who, well, you can find out in the Portugal News, because Dougie Hughes of the Portugal News wrote an article about it a couple of weeks ago now. So check that out on Portugal News. What is a Gumper? You'll find that on the homepage as well, at all the W's. GoodMorningPortugal.com. James was in early at 10 to 8 this morning with a bon dia Gumpers. There you go. See, there's that word again. It's seriously, if you are new, I know it can be a bit weird, can't it? It's like arriving at a party a bit late. Maybe, or moving into a community where people seem quite bonded. They are bonded. We pride ourselves on that. We are a tight-knit bunch, and a diverse bunch at that too. And I would say very welcoming and very open to new people joining us and asking questions, having your say. You can do that in the chat here. Don't be afraid. James is definitely the person we field as our community monitor and buddy, mentor. If you're new here, hi, I'm new here. If you're new here, do please make yourself known, or work and lurk as some people do. If you want to, that's fine too. And it's always nice to hear from new people who have just discovered or have been around for a while but feel ready now to declare themselves. So a very warm welcome to you if you're new. And also, of course, if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you so much for putting up with some of the production foibles of the podcast, for one thing, and also for being a listener of the podcast. We've had hundreds of thousands of downloads of our podcast, and grateful to each and every one of the podcast listeners over there as well. Spreaker, the best place to listen to the podcast, I would say, whereupon you can register or sign up at your favorite. You'll be able to find, I think you'll be able to find, although T-Duck, I haven't done the work on podcast 2.0 yet. Must deal with that. That's top producer T-Duck, who you'll hear me mention if you are new, and great material content coming in from top producer T-Duck, including the new feature, The Lies We Tell Our Children. But yeah, I think we've got most podcasting bases covered. Got kicked off Spotify early on. Not sure you can find us there, but most others you can. And we are a featured podcast of Spreaker.com as well, I noticed the other day too. Bom dia, gambas, and feliz terça a todos. Como vão as coisas? How are things from James? Okay, let's do them. Actually, not without a warning. Let's issue this very quickly.
Warning.
Whoops, you caught me just having a sip of tea there. A rubber band pistol, dad joke. First of James's this morning. I wonder how many there are. Let's get through it. Let's grit our teeth and get through it. A rubber band pistol was confiscated from algebra class because it was a weapon of math disruption. Well, actually, very good. Thank you, James, for that. Your visual dad joke on the screen now. And it's nice because your last comment obscures the punchline. We like that. Wesley, I'm taking it, one of the new characters of the new Star Trek. Never seen a single episode. Until, you know what? Until I watched the Anthony Bourdain movie, the movie of his life and death. It has to be said, I'd never watched a single Anthony Bourdain episode. I know a lot. I know what people like about it, I think. And I have some idea of the power and influence he had, but didn't really know anything about him. Like, I've never really watched Lord of the Rings right through as a movie, never concentrated through Star Wars. It's been on. I've wandered out the room. Not seen Game of Thrones. Quite a lot of these things I haven't seen. Wasn't that much into Star Trek as a kid, but I do remember, you know, Captain's Log, Stardate, whatever it was, and the original lineup. But not this. Not seen a single episode of New Generation, Next Generation, talking about my generation. Anyway, here they are, two of them at least. The captain. Wesley, will you scan for New Pussycat? What's New Pussycat? Dear, oh dear. And of course, the captain says, whoa, yep, I'm afraid so. Ouch. That one, I guess they're meant to be wincing, aren't they? These Star Trek memes. And as I said yesterday in conversation with T-Duck, it suddenly dawned on me, you know what, T-Duck? There's no end to these, is there? And he replied, I'm afraid not. Just try to say that without a lisp. What was that? Math disruption. Yes, not easy. I think I'd managed that though this morning. James continues multitasking this morning, also watching Portugal versus USA live. That's the Women's World Cup. Can we have up-to-date coverage, please? Maybe, James, if there's exciting goal action, could you maybe send me that via WhatsApp, and then I'll issue a quick spoiler alert so people can put their hands over their ears and go, while we give out the score. It'd be lovely to have some coverage. I mean, I don't know if you want to say incredible action on the left wing. It's a beautiful cross over, and she puts her head on it, and it's in the back of the net. That sort of thing. If you want to give us a bit of on the ball, on the spot coverage as well this morning, live coverage of the Portugal versus USA Women's World Cup match, please do. You'd be more than welcome. Let's get back to that chat. We've got Tony joining us at 9 o'clock this morning. A bit of Tony time. And John Heimbach is in the US as well. The World Cup action is not in the US, is it? It's in Japan. But John is back in the US for a little while and has sent us a hilarious list of things. I think it's been a while since he's been back there. But he sent a brilliant list of and beautiful videos as well of things that dawned on him. I think I did ask him, so what's it like to be back in the USSR? Whoops. Back in the US. You can't say back in the US. You can't start that, can you, without possibly going down that road. Get back in there, USSR. He's not in the USSR, he's in the USA. And I asked him, what's it like? And he sent me a very excellent list. And then he sent me another one. So looking forward to sharing those with you as well at around 9:30. He might pop in. Do you remember when he was listening back in the day? The times he would tune in and be among us were not exactly the commercial break, but they were more like the comfort break as he got up in the night and then thought, I don't know, I'll tune in. I know what I'll do to help me get back to sleep. I'll listen to the Good Morning Portugal show. Oh, Frank's here as well. Good morning, sir. Very formal this morning, Frank. Great fun talking to you on Friday. I will put segments of the conversation into your section of Frank Guides in the Learn About Portugal resource, which is bulging and swelling by the day, ever bigger. I am a big fan of Tony and yourself. How does one get the privilege of spending some quality time with you both? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because I think we'll have a discovery weekend. We're going to do one of these with you, Frank, in Portimao, and we'll do one with Tony as well, and you'll need to be there for that, I think. That will be a lot of fun. I've had lunch with Tony, and it's great fun hanging out with him. So we will do that. We'll make your dream come true, Frank. Okay. And okay, so Portugal versus USA Live. Frank might be watching that as well. Coach Turner, Bon dia Gumpers, back to training this afternoon and coaching this evening. The sun is out here in Hertfordshire. So first walk to the coffee shop with Mrs. T. Excellent stuff. It's like a warm-up, isn't it, at the beginning of the day, and training later on. When you're training other people, Coach Turner, do you squeeze in a bit of training yourself? Is it you training and you training others, or are you strictly focused on training the youth who you work with so admirably? Bon dia Gumpers from T-Duck, the third wise man of the Gumpocalypse, to speak this morning and provide us with some excellent content this morning. Bon dia Gumpers. Agosto, chegou. Of course, it is August. August is a fantastic adjective, as well as an interesting month, where less than we might expect. You're not in Kansas, remember, anymore. And I think, James, that should be some merchandise, should it not? We're not in, or you're not, or I'm not in Kansas anymore. Maybe we'll need to work on that. But I think we can make something around that. We can have Toto talking to the Barcelos cockerel, can't we? We're not in Kansas anymore, which is James's great input, basically, about, well, reminding us that we are in a new country with all that means. And I do love this little Portuguese saying, which I'll also bank over at learnaboutportugal.com. Agosto, toda a fruta tem gosto. August, all the fruit has taste. I love that. I love that little line of poetry there. Borda d'Água, o verdadeiro almanac, the true almanac of Portugal, Borda d'Água, the little paper fold out. Well, what is it? It's a compendium, an almanac, of course. The name says so, where you can find out about the markets, the tides, the moons, all sorts in there. And again, learn about Portugal. There is the backstory there, because T-Duck shared that with us a month or two ago. Deep thought from him then this morning. Well, deep thought via him, and there's a great papal strand. Who doesn't like a papal strand? First thing in the morning, throughout the week this week, because of course the Pope's in town. Deep thought, and in the country anyway, mainly in Lisbon and Cascais. Deep thought, don't be anxious about what you have, but about what you are. Pope St. Gregory the Great. And I wonder, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Did he say it in English? Is that a translation? I suspect it is. And anxious is a word that will have changed, isn't it? It's a bit like Socrates. Is it the uncriticized life is not worth living, which seems pretty harsh, doesn't it? But I'm sure in his time and context, the uncriticized life would have just meant, we can be mindful and conscious. It was mindfulness in the Socratic era, wasn't it? The uncriticized life is not worth living. And Pope Gregory there, suggesting we be anxious, not about what we have, but about what or who we are being, I suppose, there. Thank you very much. Pope Gregory the First. Nice name, isn't it, Gregory? Makes me think of Gregory Porter, commonly known as St. Gregory the Great. That's a lot to live up to, isn't it? Getting up in the morning. I don't suppose he always felt it, but it gave him something to live into. Should we give ourselves names and aspirations like that? Thank you, T-Duck the Magnificent, this morning. How was Mrs. Duck's special day yesterday? Do let us know, and looking forward to seeing you later on this week. He is known for instituting, not T-Duck, but Pope Gregory I. He is known for instituting the first recorded large-scale mission from Rome. What was he an early blogger? Religious blogger? Possibly there, instituting the first recorded large. Oh, he didn't record it. He instituted it. He organized a mission from Rome. Okay, I've got you. Garvo was asking me the mission to Alviagra. Garvo was asking me about that. He'll be with us next Monday. We are trying an organic rosé. Who knew? Who would have thought that we will be drinking rosé and organic to boot next Monday, which is of course the first Monday of August, although it felt like the first Monday yesterday, didn't it, of this month. The beach was packed. We had a lovely swim in the beach yesterday, and it was really busy. I mean, August is definitely here, even though it was the 31st of July yesterday. August is definitely here. The beach was packed. It was really nice. It was busy. I managed to park on the seafront, not on the seafront, but near the seafront, and manage a parking fine. I forgot that they've instituted parking charges there on the Marginal at San Martino de Porto. And people were on the beach playing. It was fantastic. I think till about 8 o'clock. Very late home and very late dinner, Portuguese style, yesterday. Kane Sabir then. Thanks, T-Duck, for your deep thought of the day from Pope Gregory I, Gregory the Great. Thank you, T-Duck the Magnificent, or T-Duck the Terrific. It needs to have some alliteration about it, doesn't it? And I'll try and do that for everybody this morning. T-Duck the Terrific then. Kane Sabir, Antonio Tomas de Garda Cabreira de Faria y Alvalos Drago de Pont. Oh, can you imagine delivering a message to him? And you'd have to go through that. Good morning, and Lord Antonio Tomas de Guarda Cabra, blah blah blah. But Drago, you couldn't speak to him like that and be so rude, because you'd have to give his whole name. Antonio the Awesome. He was a member of the Antonio the Aristocrat of the Cabrera family, and known for his work as a mathematician, polygraph, and a publicist back in them days. In the 17th century, it would appear. Let's show you him on the screen. There he is. Oh, people like that. That's a very nice, well, is it a necklace? I guess it's more of ceremonial garb, isn't it? What would a necklace on a man of that scale be called? Very good bow tie. I imagine that's not on a string or bit of elastic. That's an actual bow tie. Let me just take this so we can see him in his full glory. Great tash. Mrs. M is encouraging me to have a twirly tash like that one as well. So let's just take it off for a minute and see his orders of merit. That's what they are. They're medals, aren't they? Behind the comment there. And a beautiful jacket, double-breasted possibly. Certainly a double row of buttons by the look of it. Some embroidery on the collar. You know you're dealing with a gentleman of a certain place in society. And a waistcoat as well. And a very interesting shirt there. That could just be the front part of the shirt. We don't know that that's an entire shirt. But very, very well, he looks too. Very good. He was born, in fact, we're going back to, in case you've forgotten who we're talking about, because it's taken me so long to get to the second part of this Kane Sabir. We're talking about Antonio Tomas de Guarda Cabreira. We're talking about Senor Cabreira, essentially. Born in October 1868 in the Cabreira family home in Tavira, which is still located on the corner of Rua Borda d'Agua and Rua de Alegria. That's nice, isn't it? Cabrera is noted for his vast published work on a variety of different fields, among them the problem of squaring the circle, circling the square, cubing the sphere, and sphering the cube. Really? I saw a video last night, an old BBC video from something we used to have called Tomorrow's World, where the inventor of spirograph was showing how he worked and came up with these ideas. It was really brilliant. And it was the voice of, would it be not Raymond Burr? Anyway, it was a voice from my childhood. So weird that a voice that I heard, 50 years ago, near enough, could I just bring back such clear memories of a certain time. Atavistic, is that the word? He also studied and published papers on mechanics, astronomy. Oh, he's beginning to show off now. Literature, art, anthropology, philosophy, sociology, history, archaeology, jurisprudence, politics, and military organization. Well, what a leg end. He clearly was. There you go. We have Antonio Cabrera for you with our Kane Sabir this morning. That, as well as many others, are also in learnaboutportugal.com. We are amassing quite the treasury. If you want to learn more about Portugal, there is loads there to do that. Something for everybody, and it has a fantastic search function. So if you were to search for Cabrera later on today, you would find that and other Cabrera listings, or astronomy, history, whatever you want to look up. The search facility at learnaboutportugal.com is very, very good. Oh, I need to unpin yesterday's question. What is the nickname of the border? It was a very popular one as a short on YouTube. Not so popular, as to be said, for voting yesterday. There's still time, though. I haven't solved that one or supplied the answer just yet. The nickname of the border between Portugal and Spain, that was the question yesterday. Just unpinning that from the feed. And pinning, today's, of course, for the 1st of August. Where's it gone? Has it disappeared? It has. I can't find. No wonder people aren't voting. They can't find the blooming. Oh, I know. I've changed it a little bit. That's right. I've asked the question rather than calling it the Learn About Portugal quiz, which is one reason why I thought people weren't voting so much. Or maybe it's just really boring and nobody's interested. I would like to think not. Today's question we will return to, just pinning that then to the feed at learnaboutportugal.com, aka gmpvip.com as well. Pop over there if you'd like to learn loads more about Portugal and join the fun. Thank you, MJ, who's telling us that Katy Perry is a descendant. Oh, okay, so that gives the game away. I'm not going to read all of that out, but thank you, MJ, for making a guess. Barack was also in there. So thank you, everybody who's taken a guess so far. We'll come back to today's question a little bit later on. And now we're removing Antonio Cabrera from the screen. Opened up this morning with what's your Portugal 3? Those 3 things: a positive, a problema, and a possibility. Thank you very much for your answer to that. Oh, happy August, everyone, from Owen. Cheers, mate. And thank you for the recordings you've sent me. I will do something rather nifty with those a little bit later on today. An answer coming in for the hashtag PT3. Thank you very much, Christina. The weather is the positive. A bit like me, I said the light. Well, it's not really the weather, is it? But the atmosphere, the environment here. The weather certainly the positive for Christina. Finding the perfect location long-term / permanently is the problema. Yes, a good problem to have, but a little bit annoying when you're in mid-process and challenging potentially. And the possibility, enjoying a better personal work-life balance. Not everybody comes here to retire, you know. So thank you very much for that, Christina. Good morning to you. And you just let me know. See you tonight, actually. But you just let me know if there's anything we can do for you. It's so good to have you in the country. Fantastic. Okay, let's just bring the the furniture, the screen furniture onto the screen there, and get back to the comments in anticipation of Tony joining us at. Oh, we haven't done the weather, have we, for a little while? Yeah, Tony joining us. Oh, Google, you do look good this morning. Don't know what that's all about. And I haven't got time to check right now, but we may well have a look at the weather, the Dynasty Homes weather in just a moment. So let me look at comments first, though, before we go there and let you know what's going on weather-wise around the country. Oh, a mystery. Is this somebody who's new, or is this somebody who hasn't given StreamYard permission to use their name? Bom dia, alegria, Carl. E a todos os campers. Good morning to you, Gumpers. Thank you for that. Whoever you are, Portugal's sun is well and truly with us now. Working and lurking. Look, bom dia, alegria, todos, work, lurk, and watching the World Cup. Wow, serious multitasking there. Of note, you say, and I agree. Wishing you all an incredible day. Cheers, Francis. The Portugal sun, truly, the prodigal son, really returned to Portugal as he's done. Oh, would anyone want to be referred to as the prodigal son? I wonder. It's a really good. It's one of those curious Bible stories, isn't it? I think, well, what is the point of that? Really, what's that about? I urge you to if, like with a lot of the stories, we didn't quite get them as kids, couldn't understand what it was about, and they might have a new value when you're a little bit older. So I hope you don't mind me calling you the prodigal son. I don't mean it in any bad way, but you have returned, have you not? We're talking of Portuguese ancestry, as we are on the Learn About Portugal quiz today, and a nice big greeting for you as well there, Francis, from James. Pete's in as well. Good morning, Pete. The Portugal sun is at the Women's World Cup. I have a football tournament in the village, which is way higher quality, I remember. The USA women's team being beaten 5-2 by an under-15s team. Was that in the village? Wow. Can you imagine that, touring from the USA in a little village in central Portugal? What fun. I bet they had a great time before and after the match as well, despite being beaten by an under-15s team. Kids are good at football here, let's face it. Talking of going to the beach last night, the kids playing sport, all kinds of sport, and playing football on the beach, they show me up. That moment, you know, when you're a kid and you're not part of the action and the ball rolls towards you and you feel like everyone's watching you. Well, I have that as a man in his 50s. I've got these teenagers playing barefoot, these incredibly athletic and lithe teenagers. One of them mishits the ball, it rolls over to me, and there's the old English guy's chance to dazzle them with his skills and stub his toe or miskick it as he casually hoofs it back. Sometimes it goes well. I don't think they care, but just that spotlight moment. I don't know if you remember that from being a kid. And the accolade, of course, is when you hoof it back, is they say, "Mate, do you want to play?" And you're going, "Oh, okay then." They never ask me that here in San Martino de Porto, as much as I hang around on the sideline and kick it back willingly. It is about the same quality as the average under-12s game. What is that? Is that you besmirching the Women's World Cup there, Pete? Good morning, sir. I am a big fan of Tony. I will make sure he sees that, and I'll read it out for a third time when Tony's got here. Mr. S, how are you this morning? I was thinking about you yesterday evening. Bom dia a vossas mercês. trying a bit of Portuguese on us. Excuse me, I need to cough and have a sip of tea. Bear with. I can unmute for the tea drinking part. Oh, the Good Morning Portugal mugs are back up online. I think if I put them on the merch on the website, you too can sip from the GMP cup. And that's not a filthy metaphor or euphemism. You actually can sip from the GMP cup. Those are back on sale in the, I think they are anyway. I was doing a lot of work on that. I've got involved in Spotify because you can link Spotify directly with YouTube. And we're going to be working on Barack's hoodie and the plate, the wonderful plate that's based on a Portuguese saying that was supplied to us by Antonio F. And of course, now you're not in Kansas anymore, mugs as well. Motard Squid is here. Good morning, everyone. Motard Squid, is that you who's been biking with Tony? We want to have you on the show. Hopefully you and Tony can join us one morning to talk about your incredible experience of motorcycling around the world, indeed, in the US and in Portugal as well. That's you. We've seen your name before and would love to have a conversation with you on the show. So welcome to you this morning. Please join us sometime. No spoiler alert, but Portugal has really stepped up their game. Nice. We're getting coverage coming in of the Women's World Cup from James. Bet you never imagined you'd be doing that in your life. James, thank you. World Cup is in Australia, New Zealand. Oh, I thought there was a Japanese game. Oh, was it? Is it the president, not the president, the prime minister had to fly off to Australia/New Zealand? Is it not Japan as well? I'm sure he went off to Japan to watch the Portuguese ladies play. Bon dia from Chris. How you doing, Chris? Great report again this morning from the train. Oh, bless you. Bikes should be allowed on the train though, Chris. And where is Kansas? I have no idea. Although I did have, as well as finding a brilliant, if you watched yesterday, I found a brilliant blog about borders around the world. I did find a fantastic article as well that places a lot of US countries, US states, I beg your pardon, US states on other continents to give us a sense of scale around the world. That was very interesting. I'm not sure if Kansas came up. You must know that, or have you just forgotten now? Is that your way of saying it's in the past? I'm no longer interested. I am now in Portugal, Mr. S. Is there a World Cup of darts going on? Is that some faint praise there? Is that a little bit of an oblique criticism of the Women's World Cup, Frank? I wonder. Bon dia, Chris. Have you had close encounters with a wet wipe this morning? Yes, it does actually happen on British public transport. If that's your thing, fly over there. If it makes you go ill, as it does me, stay well away from British public transport. And certainly stay well away from Chris's experience of British public transport. Good morning, people. Lee, back to work after a fantastic weekend. Well, thanks for letting us be part of it on Sunday, Lee. It was a real privilege, pleasure to hang out with your extended family. Hey, is Carlo, he does events, right? Is he a chef? Like a chef? Well, he clearly is. He's a cook, no question about that. And he did a fantastic job on the barbecue. Do his skills lend themselves to a sit-down restaurant-y type meal? I would love to have a conversation with him around food. I'll tell you more about that in a message, but I think it'll be amazing to talk to him about his experience, his childhood here in Portugal. So can you please connect us? I would love to speak more to him and do a little bit of filming with him, including and involving food, of course, and booze. Maybe you should be there, Lee, supplying the cold beers. Kansas is smack dab in the middle of the US. Somehow, I think James knows that. Thanks for being here, Lee. Thank you for being here, Mr. S. And James, I think he knows that's where Kansas is, right? That had extra meaning within it, that question. I only know the West, Boston and New York. Again, I think an American in-joke possibly there. Jean is in this morning as well. Bon dia todos, feliz agosto. Thank you very much. Happy August to everyone. It is a different kind of experience here in Portugal, of course, in August. Don't expect anything to get done at any great speed. Well, at any time of the year, let's face it, apart from unless it's driving. August, everything slows down. Everyone having a holiday. Pretty much at the same time. The kids are off, of course, and the parents are taking time off work and hanging out, having a holiday for quite a lot of August. Do bear that in mind. If you're wanting to get things done, allow extra time in August. It certainly was, says Pete, about the weekend with the McGrady's. A sua adorável família a la Garda. Thank you very much, Pete, for that. Anxious in English can mean either nervous or excited. And I suppose just more commonly now, it just lends itself to the state of anxiety, doesn't it? Which is epidemic in our culture, sadly. I'm formerly known as James the Great. Formerly, now more commonly known as just James Banana Slugs Dude. Okay, well, if that's how you want it, no rubber guns then. No rubber band guns for Tomasz then. No, not for Antonio Cabrera this morning. That is an impressive comb over, and as is tradition, if less hirsute on top, one overly compensates elsewhere. Yes, with the clothes and so on, I bet the moustache pales into insignificance compared to the back hair. Ooh. Thank you for putting that picture in our minds this morning. Mr. S. Oh, okay. We can find it under things people might not know. And in this case, I'm guessing many Americans don't. Is that right? So a lot of Americans don't even know where Kansas is. They tend to stick to their own state. States are like countries, though, aren't they, in the United States? I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just such a vast place. And is it analogous with, having a country state of mind, the state that you live in, more like a country in many ways, bordering other countries or the seas, of course. Is that how it is? I've no idea. I didn't grow up in America. Don't know what it's like. I've been a couple of times, loved it, but I don't know how it works really. And even probably some Americans still don't know how it works, having grown up there. Pete is spot on. I think the you two are having a little pop at the ladies. Maybe I'm not helping either, calling it ladies football. I don't mean that in any demeaning way, I can assure you. Like perhaps Frank and Pete are getting at this morning. Hola and bon dia to all of you wide awake folks. I'm up briefly in the wee hours and just wanted to say hi. Oh, John, so good of you. I don't know if you're in any state to be on screen, but I shall send you the link anyway, just in case you are. And I'll be playing your video later on that you very kindly sent to us of the seas. Where are you? I'm not sure that's obvious, or maybe it is in the voiceover. I've only watched it and I haven't listened to it. So you could say anything this morning when I play those. It's because I trust you completely. Right. You're up in the wee hours, literally, then this morning. Great to see you, John. I hope you're having a great time over there. I can't wait to read out your list. It's Jeannie, Johnny, listening to Good Morning Portugal in Panama Court while hardening. Oh, you like the show that much, huh? And is that why you don't listen that often? Because I imagine that's quite an awkward condition to be in, having listened to the GMP. I suspect you meant gardening. But I do quite like the idea of people, or should I say that now? Smash that like button. It's the first time I've heard that, somebody hardening whilst listening to the GMP. I'm visiting the US for 10 weeks, so we'll have to be the occasional lurker once again in that role. Carl, as lovely as Lee's brother-in-law is, I'm pretty sure his childhood was in Cape Verde, whilst Lee was implementing his feed up for the apocalypse, getting morsels from the barbecue. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. But that's a great story to tell as well, isn't it? The relationship between Cape Verde and Portugal when he came over, what that was like. I'd love to talk to him about that. Yes, gardening, not hardening. Thank you for putting that right. For example, the entire country of Portugal is 20% the area of California. In other words, one could fit 5 Portugals inside the borders of California. That is vast, isn't it? 2 minutes. Tony's running late. He's on a Zoom call with a client. Absolutely. I'm going to say, calma, não faz mal. There is my grasp of the lingo. As and when, Tony, we'll see you soon, mate, when you can get here. It's important that you deal with your clients all over the world, of course, as you do. Women's World Cup report then, halftime. If you don't want to know the score, if you're watching it later, close your ears now. I'll have some people hastily reaching for their laptops and shutting the lid. I'm going to give the score in just a moment then of the Women's World Cup at halftime. Portugal women versus the USA women. That will be, are you ready? 0-0 at halftime. And I do need to share with you that article that gives you a sense of scale of countries. Oh, I've got to talk about the little owl as well. Vivian, of course, Bob and Vivian, she saved a little owl over the weekend. What's his name? I can't remember what he was called. Can anyone else remember what the little owl's called? He's beautiful, absolutely amazing little creature. We can bring him onto the screen as well. And I'm trying to find that the link to that article for you as well. Oh, factable.com. Maps that it's not just about the United States, it's maps that put the world into perspective. You might like to have a look at this while you're listening this morning to carry on with that theme that James was talking about there, how Portugal would fit into 20% of California. There's all sorts of facts like that on the link I'm just sending in to you. And just very briefly then, Tony's in a condition to join us now, fresh from a Zoom call and wowing somebody else around the world, I'm sure, about Portuguese property. We've got an amazing property to share with you. What can you get for 220 grand in Portugal? I think it's a 12-bedroom place for 220,000 this morning. Here's the little owl. Isn't that a fantastic picture? He's a little baby owl that was found while Bob and Viv's got a gift for finding stray creatures and hurt little waifs and strays. This little guy was, I think, found over the weekend and was put into some sort of wild bird rehab, and he's doing great. But look at him, isn't he beautiful? With his little, his little eyes. They're so beautiful, aren't they? He's amazing. And also, we need to send this gentleman some serving suggestions. I think if you see a superbox shower like this on a beach in Portugal, it doesn't actually shower you in beer, in case you're wondering. Maybe it does in some parts maybe in the Algarve, especially for the Brits. They would love that, wouldn't they? Whoa! Get under the superbox shower. I think it's actually just fresh water that's showering you off. But this gent here thinks it might be a bit of beer and getting ready to do so. He was in for a surprise, I think. Let's give him a nice big round of applause because he's ready now. It's a little bit of Tony time for you. Good morning to you. Let's put you out on the other side of the screen there, Tony. How are you, mate? Oh, what's happening?
Bom dia. Hi, Carl. Hello, everyone.
It's so good to have you here with that lovely view up there in the north of Portugal. Do you have these up there, Tony?
Maybe. Yes, we do. Yeah, but I've been trying to get one to every time I visit one. I'm like that guy. Man, I wish it would come out beer instead of water.
Superb. So how's it going? You're fresh from a call doing deals around the world this morning.
There's actually somebody on the west coast of in Oregon, the United States. It's midnight there, but it's the only time 8 o'clock in the morning here, and we do get started as early as that.
You're up and at it already. So how are things going generally up there? I'm sure the fortunes and notoriety, fame for Northern Portugal is continuing, especially if you've got anything to do with it, Tony.
Yeah, for sure. I think in this time around, in the month of August, Carl, we see a lot more people, right? A lot of immigrants that live outside of Portugal, Portuguese, that are coming back to visit as well. So a lot of cars. Be careful driving because I think they come with a month. They're here for a month and they're ecstatic and happy to be here. That they only have 1 month, so they have to do a lot, and so they're quick about it. They're even driving. So be very careful. I've had that experience yesterday. I went to, when you talk about this property that you're probably going to be talking about, go to the northern interior Portugal of, it's called Montalegre, Chaves, Vila Real, in that region there. And so there is a lot of migration, right? The Portuguese that migrated. And so you see them here and they're like, in the not in the motorways, because that you can go 120 or more or whatever, but in the national roads, Estradas Nacionais, people are a little, I guess, in a rush to get where they want to go. Maybe they'll get there a lot quicker, but because they're small country roads, right? And so just be careful. It's an experience like, wow, okay, you got to be attentive on how you're driving, but everybody else around you that are making these passages and stuff. But a beautiful area of Portugal.
Yes. Well, thank you for that announcement there, because whilst a lot of Portugal is slowing down, if you're trying to buy a house, if you're trying to do official business, everything is slowing down. A lot of government workers are off for August, or certainly short-staffed as people have holidays. But a lot of other folks, for example, the staff in the VFS and consulate may well be coming back from around the world to be in Portugal, the homeland, and migrants who've gone to other parts of the world like them will also be coming back. And that's the phenomenon you're describing, isn't it? The August homecoming, where there is a great concentration, certainly, of people coming back from North America. The question actually on Learn About Portugal is about the Luso Americanos. but also from all over Europe. There are people driving back, aren't there, from all over Europe to spend time with family. And perhaps most of the month of August here, they might have hired themselves a nice car to show the folks back home how well they're doing. They might also stop on the border, right, Tony? So as soon as they see a Portugal sign or their village sign, they're going to park up on the verge and get out and take a selfie as well, aren't they?
Yeah, of course, it's called saudade. It's when people go away, for a year, and then they have that month off, and then they want to come and visit the homeland, right? So they're like hugging the sign, taking pictures. It's for them as an event, and we take it for sometimes. We take it for granted. We live here. I don't take it for granted, but we live here. We have our own pace that we could do everything a little slower, right? And time and everything. They're a little bit. Everything's quick. When you go to a restaurant, and even driving, everything, because. It's that whole month. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. And so they're all fired up. They really, it's like, wow. But I remember those days for myself too, Carl, when before moving here permanently, I was probably one of those people that but I used to come for 2 or 3 months at a time. So 1 month wasn't enough when I used to bring my niece over with me. And, but it was that sort of thing, that saudade, you come visit the family and you with friends that you don't see normally throughout the year. You're working, right? So you're busy, but they drive in from all points from Europe. So you'll see a lot of different license plates at this time of the season.
Wonderful, Pete. Yeah, absolutely.
And beautiful coming in from all over the world. And as you say, they'll lease out these beautiful machines that wow, okay, is it theirs? No, they're probably leasing or something. There's a joke with that. It's a running joke with the Portuguese, that when you see one, from Switzerland or from France or whatever, is it theirs or is it owned by somebody else? Because you'll see them driving around their little, like Ford Pinto or something, or their Renault Clio or that little small little car around in their area throughout the year. But at this time they rent out and they go all out, man. They really go all out.
Yes. Well, you'd want to, wouldn't you? Coming home, you're the guy who's gone away to work overseas and improve his or her fortunes, and you're back, and you want to make a good impression coming back to Portugal, seeing all the relatives. And it's beautiful. I've seen it at the festas as well, because I think some of the festas in summer in August are timed especially for that as well. Because you think, hold on a minute, how come this sleepy village that I know suddenly is full of hundreds of people? And it is the saudade charged homecoming people as well, isn't it? And coming back and meeting all the relatives.
Yeah, for sure. That's a lot of them plan their holidays around those festive moments, religious moments. Every single town will have they'll pay homage to that patron saint, right? And so they'll plan out their holiday to come back to the homeland for that, to that small little village, and it does light up from there's maybe 30 or 40 people living there, and it goes all the way up to 3,000. That's a lot. A lot of confusion, a lot of confusion, a lot of super buck.
What a great evening though, to wander around a village that you have a childhood connection with or a family connection with, and just people will be coming up to you and saying, "You're Tony, aren't you?" And you don't know who they are because you're back in this place. You haven't seen them for years. They know who you are because they haven't seen you for a while, and they see you with all your other relatives. I remember you when you and all this sort of stuff. It must be wonderful. Yeah. What a lovely weekend or evening that is when people do that here in Portugal.
Of course, it's as we say, memories are to last forever. When you have those beautiful memories. I mean, I do. When I was growing up here and coming to visit on holiday with my parents, and as the years go by, as you say, you see people that you normally don't see, and you just you catch up. It's like a long night. You eat, you drink, maybe you pray. I don't know. You do a lot of stuff, but you do.
Superb,
and but and they do. Yeah, I love it. I love it, and that's traditions, and I think traditions are will never go out of style here in those small little villages. And then they elect the following year the members that are going to take on, and usually it's a tradition that most villages, some of them are done away with it because people are just active lives. They don't want they have to contribute with their own money sometimes, right? Because they can't get enough donations and stuff. So it's less and less people doing it, and so it doesn't have probably the fan and flair as it used to do years ago. It was a lot easier, but still people try to maintain that tradition in the small little villages, and I love that. I love that.
I do, and I'm very glad of those people because when you chance upon that and get to experience it, a lot of work has gone into many of these events, and it's not a small undertaking, and they're continuing to do it and uphold the traditions and sort of values and just the beauty of these little places. So be very grateful when you see those. Do take part if you possibly can. You'll be made welcome, even if you're a foreigner. You chance upon a festival. You don't have to be one of these other prodigal sons returning from a far off land. You'll be made to feel welcome as part of that festive spirit. So please eat, drink, and be merry, and help fund the next one, basically, by buying lots of beer and food while you're there. We'll come back to this. Certainly, the Americans returning to Portugal, because that's the theme of our question. I did a little bit of research. It's fascinating to learn how long ago Portuguese people went to what is America, and the connections that Americans have with Portugal. So I'll come back to that. We've got a fantastic property to take a look at. And just briefly then, Gerald Denort, who we both know, of course, Tony. Ciao, ciao for now. Back to the land of Nod. So he popped up for a wee break on so many levels. And yeah, thanks, Gerald, and thank you for your lists. I think I'll talk about those while Tony's here, because I think you'll find those amusing. Pam, we haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're well. Pam Smith in Alcobaça, an important figure in Alcobaça over there. Hope you and Tony are doing well. Other Tony. And took me several months to stop feeling like I had to see and do everything. Well, that's because you live here now, James. To do everything in the next 2 weeks, to actually feel it, and that I was here, that I wasn't leaving, and that I had the rest of my life to be here. What a lovely feeling that is. Sue's also in. I arrived without a visa. Going to be staying longer than 180 days. Well, there's an admission right on the screen there. It's like evidence. I don't know if you really want to do that, Suze. And I can't condone this. I'll say now publicly, I cannot condone this kind of behavior, but I hope we can help. So I just go to a CEF office to get an extension visitor visa. Got my NEEF bank account next. So when you outstay, you're welcome. What happens, Tony? Do you know?
They boot you. No, you no, Sue. Definitely, you can't stay on a Schengen visa. You can't. You could stay for 90 days.
Visa. Yeah, tourist visa from
90 days at a time. It's not 180 days. It's 90 days, and you have to leave the Schengen space. And that's probably what she could have done, and leave, and then come back for another 90 days. So maximum 180 days, but she needs to go to the CEF office, and she can. I mean, you could prove an extension, but you're going to have to then ultimately, if they could say no, you have to leave the country, and if you then you got to leave, because the rules are very clear. It's a Schengen visa, 90 days at a time, and otherwise you do have to come in on some kind of visa, or what she could do. Here's my suggestion: apply for the digital nomad visa. Okay, the time that you are living here in Portugal will actually count at some point. And the digital nomad visa, she has to prove, is 4 times of the minimum wage. Most people, that's the only visa, Carl. I don't know if you know, that's the only visa that you can actually, the process starts in Portugal, where all other and the golden visa, which, well, that's going to be done with for real estate at some point. But the digital nomad visa is the only visa that you can actually start the process in Portugal. You can come in on a tourist visa and apply for the digital nomad visa here in Portugal, where, for example, the passive income visa, or otherwise known as the D7 visa, it is a process that has to start mandatory in your country of residence, which Sue had to do as to come into Portugal to stay more than 90 days, because that's what it is. It's a visa. I mean, these are things that I think there's a post that I wrote about it, like how to successfully complete it. But 90 days is they give you, it's like it's permission to come and stay for 120 days actually. And during those 120 days, that's when they schedule an appointment at CEF. It's automatically done. And you have like on your passport, you're stamped with the visa. There's a QR code that it's read. That if you type in, there's a URL. That's where you find out the day and date of your appointment at CEF. But that's done through the D7 visa. So I wouldn't waste any more time and go there, take care of it right away for sure.
Yes, good advice. Thank you, Tony. Antonio F. also helping out here. You can request an extension of your visa from 90 to 180 days, but it's discretionary. And Tony here is suggesting you do that promptly. And T-Duck, I'm not sure how he's saying this, in the style of, who is it who says this? Is it from Bond movies? one doesn't just go, or is that a Star Trek again? One doesn't just go to a SEF office. No, it's not as simple as that, is it? You may have to try and get an appointment. I think certainly you should. Yeah, I mean, Suze should have a paper trail, right? That she's tried to get in touch, even if she isn't able to do that successfully. You really want to have an email trail or screenshots of you ringing, trying to get an appointment to make it look like you're on the case with this, Suze. So good luck with that. Let us know how you get on. And maybe it's one of the benefits of Brexit for people who aren't British is that you could fly to UK now and hang out there for 180 days and then come back for another 90 because it's a third country, of course, now. That would be a strategy, wouldn't it, Tony?
Yeah, and just here's a point of reference for people to later on. And when we get off this call, I have a meeting with the clients from the UK. Okay, we met with them. No, they're clients, referred clients of other friends that we helped here, and they're going to be setting up a business and investments and everything. But having a solicitor on your side, if it wasn't this was last week. They planned it out. Hey, you know what? There's direct flights now from Stansted to Vigo in the north. Okay, easy. Yeah, like 25, 30 euros round trip. It's real cheap. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Stansted to Vigo. We closed on a property a couple of months ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago here. And the buyers are ecstatic. These are friends for a long time too. They're ecstatic because you know what? They don't have to go to Porto. The husband lands in Vigo, calls his wife, hey, I'm arrived. It takes 20 minutes to get there from the house, and direct flights, okay? The low cost direct flight, Stansted to Vigo. And so you don't have to go to Porto. Anyone in the region here in the north, it may make more sense. Just keep that in mind. And but even at that, so for example, like we have, they scheduled their flights last week from one thing. Hey, you know what? Come for the weekend. Come for 2 or 3 days. They're coming in. They're flying in the morning, setting up. We're going to visit some properties. We already defined what they're going to be looking at, right? That's the whole idea. So then we don't waste time. We know exactly what they want and where they want and the investment they want to make. So it's defined there. Having a meeting with the solicitor in the evening tomorrow morning, which was already scheduled last Thursday. And you're right, you can't go into a SEF office or a finance office. Hey, I need to get a tax number. I need to do this or that. It just doesn't happen. There's days that you have to schedule, but a solicitor has priority over any citizen. Okay, it's just they have, because that's what they're going there to do. And we're able to get it from like one day to the other, from last Thursday, and there was no opening. If you have an appointment, it's only some time in September that's available. So a solicitor will get the job done for you. Sometimes I always say, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire an amateur, or worse, you try to do it yourself.
Yeah, well said. It's good advice, Suze. It's good advice. It really is. And yet, Tony, this is incredible. This is really brilliant. The more people know about this, I suspect it might put the prices up. However, for those of you wishing to go to and from the UK, this is news to me this morning. And remember where you heard it first.
There you go.
I mean, Skyscanner, just a very quick search there. Going from Vigo, which I suspect is a lovely little airport. I love small airports. I really do. And you can fly Stansted. I mean, that's the bad news. The good news is it's Vigo and it's north of Portugal. The bad news is you have to fly into Stansted. But you can't have everything. And you'll have to get a train or a coach into town or whatever and do whatever you've got to at the other end. But £34 it will cost you on that direct flight from Stansted to Vigo with Ryanair, which is always fun. You have to adjust yourself to fly on Ryanair, and you get into the sort of Ryanair frame of mind. But for 36 quid, that's amazing. Hold on, I've just got to tell Jimmy Choo something. So I have to give him a little bit of a.
Me and a friend of mine are planning to go to London and for the weekend. He's here on holiday. And we're looking at it, and it's like, you could go there for a week and how cheap it is, just to fly. It's cheaper than going to the Algarve.
It is. It is. That's incredible. Thank you for letting us know about that. That might influence Suze's plans, in fact. So there you go. Vigo Airport. What's it like, Tony? Have you been there?
plenty of times. It's international. When you're
Right.
flying, when you go into South America, a lot of the except for Brazil, I use TAP. Okay, the Portuguese carrier. But if I'm going to South America, Central America, I like to use the Spanish airline because they have the direct flight from Madrid. So you have to go to Vigo, Madrid, right? But it's a
Yep.
small little airport. There's two actually. There's one, Santiago. Santiago will fly you to sometimes during some days of the week or months to the islands itself. You know, the Canary Islands, outside of international as well. So you have Vigo, but Vigo's so easy to get there. It's not confusing, but and it's usually used as somebody to going to Madrid, especially, or other parts of Spain, of course. You know, if you want to go to the islands. If you live up here in the north, it's a lot easier to get around. You going to Vigo for sure. 20 minutes away from like Valencia, Villanova, Cerveda. It's a hop, skip, and a jump, especially on the motorway. You get on one motorway, you get off, and you're right there at the airport. Simple.
I had no idea. No idea. That's fantastic to know about. Cheers, Tony. Thank you for that. And what incredible value that is. Talking of incredible value, the main event of our conversation this morning is this incredible property. We will share this on our Ask the Agent sister site as well. This is incredible. Shall I just play the video, Tony, and then we'll talk a bit more about it afterwards?
Sure, and then I'll show you the offers I already have for the property. Okay, and we're going to go into a multiple offer, multiple offer, and above asking price. So we're going to close this property that you're going to see at above asking price because it's not one, it's not two. I'll show you the offers in less than 24 hours.
Right. It's nearly 4 minutes long, but it's well worth going on this little tour with Tony now. So we'll be right back after this. Prepare to be amazed, basically.
Hi everyone. And so, what does 220,000 euros get you in Portugal? Well, this is a conjunction of it's a property composed of 3 homes. This one here has 5 bedroom en suites. Then there is another adjoining home, another 5 bedroom en suites, and then a smaller one which has 2 bedroom en suites. So a total of 12 bedroom en suites here in the Serra Peneda Gerês. Okay, it's a national park. Just have a quick pick on what's inside. Beautiful view here to the valley, of course. And we'll get a quick peek here inside the house. Okay. This is the house that has 5 bedroom en suites, high ceilings, rustic house, completely renovated, and it functions as a alojamento local. Okay, so for Airbnb, local accommodation, this is perfect for you to continue the business or private property, of course, right? And so here in plain Serra do Peneda Gerês, this house has 2 pools. Has one here. Again, nice view, panoramic. This is a high ground in the winter. If you like snow, definitely you will see it here. This is another back part of the house. And yeah, what you can get for 220K here. 12 bedroom en suites, conjunction of 3 houses in a property, 2 swimming pools. All of them have their own little backyard, sort of, to lounge and with barbecue, right? And you could see panoramic view of the mountainside, of the base of the Peneda Gerês. This is a back look at the facade. So yeah, 3 homes, 12 bedroom en suites, 2 pools, ready to go. Functions as alojamento local, you know, the local accommodation license to allow for Airbnb. Here in Montalegre, high up in the mountains, so definitely snow is something of that you will find here in this region. And that's what it's about. What you can get for 220K in Portugal. More details to come, and we can serve as your buyer agent here for this property. Definitely, if you want to continue the business of, as I said, the alojamento local, perfect, ready to go. Otherwise, turn it into your own little private property as well. Okay, guys, more details soon. Cheers.
Tony, that is amazing, isn't it? I mean, what a beautiful place, what a beautiful location, what incredible value. 2 pools. I mean, there's definitely an investment property, isn't it? You know, if you're coming over to Portugal and you if you've got a budget of $250,000, you could buy that with some confidence, couldn't you? Knowing that if it wasn't for you, you could sell it on as a going concern, as a business. But you could well end up there as well, couldn't you? With space to let out, have family over, friends. It's incredible. What a wonderful proposition that is.
Yeah, definitely as an investment property, somebody wants to live there permanently and maybe live in one of the houses, rent out. They're all legal for that, right? The license to do. But if you notice that the kitchen, it's an industrial kitchen, right? It's not a small little kitchenette. I mean, and the other house has one as well. Each single house has its own little kitchen because it's made that way if you wanted to rent them out separately, etc. And you saw the solar panels, right? You saw the solar panels. So there's a lot of there, and I'm not surprised why we already have even other few, even just I don't have to go there and see it, of course, although I'll say this, okay, it's not in the Minho, it's in the district of Vila Real. Vila Real is a little further out of the way. You're talking about 2 hours to get there, and there's not too many people that would want to get out of the airport and travel 2 hours by car. But once you're there, you have cities around you, right? Villas like Montalegre, you have Chaves, Vila Real, all these big villages, and with all the services within like 10 minutes away. It really is. I found it like, wow, it's a perfect ideal place to go on a holiday for a week, and you want to enjoy nature, because the Peneda Gerês, with the rivers and the how do you say, with the water, the water dams, right? The barragens, it kind of makes out small little lagoons, little river beaches and everything. So there's a lot going on there. Somebody that wants to spend a week there or a weekend, etc., without a doubt, or somebody that wants to come as a permanent home, live there for stay here for a couple of months or whatever, rent it out the rest of the time, because it's an attractive. Can you imagine when it snows up there? It's beautiful. Somebody, you know what I mean? Like and I have pictures of it. They sent. You could see them in the archives, and it does snow. When it snows, like we get snow up here in the Minho, like in Melgaço, when you go to there's an area there, Suajo, that's on the base of the Peneda Gerês, facing north, right? Facing north, and that area there is definitely there's a lot of snow, and people flock there every little chance, and you see the snow-capped mountains. So it must be beautiful to see. I mean, you have the 4 seasons. It was hot. It's a hot day, really, in those interior parts of Portugal. You got to keep in mind that the climate is either it's very, very hot or very cold. There's like, spring. There is a little spring and summer, but it's pretty much the winters are, where we have rain in the near the litoral, near the closer to the ocean. They're going to get snow there because, and especially the high altitude it is, it's very high altitude. So definitely anybody that loves the snow, it is a magical place. I can imagine myself, indoors, of course, with the fireplace lit, with friends and stuff, even for Christmas or New Year's, and snowing down. I mean, we could dream, right, Carl?
Well, there's some dreaming going on here. Look, James is saying, how about a community property? 3 or 4 or more people purchase and share the property. I mean, even if you had 3 people and 2 of them put in 80 and the other put in 60 for the smaller property, you'd have self-contained living, wouldn't you? And you could mix as much as you wanted or have your own privacy. And that would be not a massive amount compared to some second home investments. You make a good point, though, about how remote it is. And I think you need to be prepared for that, don't you? You need to be thinking about that as a benefit and a bonus rather than a bit of a problem. It's not a quick getaway. It is somewhere where you would want to enjoy the solitude, the depth of nature and immersion in nature there. And you say it's got an industrial kitchen. I mean, what a place to run residential courses based on cooking. It would be an incredible place, wouldn't it, to have a residential cookery school, for example?
Yeah, I mean, there's the possibilities. You say, for me, I love. Some people say remote. I love remote
Yeah.
because again, you're 10 minutes away from hospitals, supermarkets, restaurants. And Montalegre is like literally less than 10 minutes away. But you have no, I'm not antisocial, but I like to be, in my own little spot, right? I
You're a
love
very
people.
sociable guy, but I can understand how you might like to retreat as well and just be with your own thoughts and peace and so on. And what better place to do it? That's amazing. So thank you very much. Suze is suggesting as well, if people got together and bought a village like they did at Shumbaria that we heard about from Sarah last week as well. Yeah, what a fantastic property. Thank you for sharing that and others at infinite-solutions.pt this morning. We're keeping you, I think, from doing deals now. Sorry, Tony, to keep you past your schedule.
I'm free. I'm free for another few minutes. I only have to be. I still got to hit the gym. We have to work out as much as we eat. It's good to keep in shape. So you're never going to work it all off. You're never going to work.
These Adonis figures that Tony and I have don't look after themselves. They need hard work and sculpting, don't they, Tony? So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, of course. And nobody really understands. We've been and it's beautiful where I've that Rambo body. I don't know that you've always wanted. You see, Rambo, right? Well, have you looked at a picture of Sylvester Stallone? I've worked all my life to get to the Rambo body with an investment in lots of wines and the gastronomy. It's a big investment that you have there, And so,
that Rambo body. Yes. What fun it is investing in that way, as you described. I was up at that restaurant where we met for lunch. I hadn't been there this year, and I popped up there, and the Lagartos reminded me of you, the grilled pork strips. We had a lovely meal up there last week. It was fantastic, and what fun it was. I've still got the photos there of you and me eating there, Tony. And Frank was in earlier on asking about when we can get together to have some fun. So
the
romance will continue. He's got an Adonis figure as well. What are you laughing at, Mr. S? And quick spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the Women's World Cup football scores, look away now, cover your ears, go because I'm going to tell you that the Women's World Cup score of USA versus Portugal is currently 0-0 in the second half. Morning to you, Victoria. Thank you for being here, and we'll have some fun with you and Frank in Portimao one of these days as well. I was talking to Frank about that last night. Tony, then perhaps a final concluding word from you. I mean, people should, if they're interested in that property or others like it, because you've clearly got a knack for finding amazing places, especially in the north of Portugal. However, you do cover all of Portugal. In fact, you can help people with property in the United States, can't you? Your global network is incredible. You are a specialist, of course, in the north of Portugal, and this is how to find you, infinite-solutions.pt. A final word from you then before you go off and sculpt your body some more in the gym, Tony.
No, just wishing everybody a happy Tuesday, a great start to August. It's August 1st, and enjoy, and just nothing more. And as you say, the being part of international real estate organizations, allows you to have a great network, vast network. So people moving all over the world or investing all over the world. That's it's not only Portugal, but for sure Portugal, all over Portugal. But of course, my stopping grounds. And if you want to see me, come. You can invite me to lunch or dinner anytime, but don't invite me to work. Okay? So,
hey. There he goes with his catchphrase there. Cheers, Tony. You have a great time, a great month, and we'll look forward to seeing you in September, my friend. Thank you very much.
Bye, Carol. Thank you. Bye, guys.
See ya. There goes Tony. Fantastic. Always great fun hanging out with Tony for a bit of Tony time once a month, as we do. And you're thinking, where's John Heimbach? He's normally here on the first Tuesday of the month. Well, he's back in the United States. He sent some brilliant lists of things that have occurred to him and some lovely video. He's also sent a self-portrait. in the last few minutes. He's not going to be joining us on screen. This is his portrait that he sent in. This is what it looks like in the United States at the moment. There he is. You could just about make him out. That's how it is right now. So more words and pictures from John here now. Let's go through his video clips that he sent us. A little bit windy on the beach, and I'm not sure which beach this is. Perhaps he says during the video. So a bit of footage to share with you from John Heimbach, who can't be here in person, but is certainly more than made up for that with videos and some amusing lists as well. So here's the first.
Somewhere way out there is Portugal. Opposite side.
Can you see us waving to you, John? That's lovely. So I don't know if you were able to make that out. He's on the beach there. And somewhere across the water is Portugal. Let's see another. This is a fascinating over there as well. Wherever he is. Does anyone recognize it?
This is a riptide location. All this water has to go out somewhere, so it's all flowing out right here. You wouldn't want to be out in the water right out there. Pulled out. It's quite fast. All this tidal pool water is just flowing out of here like a fast-flowing river, straight out into the ocean. Isn't that crazy? How fast is it going? Who's this crazy guy standing right in it too?
Pretty scary stuff there, right? The water flowing both ways at great speed. Clearly not a massive danger there. I hope not. Kids playing there, and John, I'm sure, keeping an eye on what's going on. But that's quite the phenomena, isn't it? And that's apparently a thunderstorm season on the East Coast, of course. Hopefully we dodged them, said John over the weekend. We fly to Raleigh, North Carolina, and then join my family for a week on the seaside at Topsail, known as Top. So that's a place called Topsail. One more video to share with you, and then John's lists, a hilarious list. We'll do our Learn About Portugal quiz question for the day, and we'll take a look at the weather as well.
Hey Carl, we're at Topsail Beach, High Gumpers, North Carolina, heading up the sand dunes, up and over. My family out. It's high tide, and this tide in the water is way up. When we were out there this morning, it was a good 100 feet further out, but it's a little past 7 o'clock, and we're out to see the tidal pools. Sun setting over the beach. This is one of the lovely beaches along the Carolina coast, and very uncrowded. Just a pleasant place. This is the turtles. They protect the turtles, and so there's turtle eggs in here. And when they come out, it's kind of an event. There's several of these places along the coast where they have them marked off where they know the turtles have laid their eggs. But this is rather shocking because this tidal pool is way up. I mean, literally, we were way out there this day, hanging out. Hey, Malachi, say hi.
Hi.
That's my nephew. My family, my brother, my sister-in-law, brother Dan and Hannah. This is awesome. Anyway, just sharing a beautiful day. But we do miss it out there in Portugal, way out that way. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, John. That's absolutely beautiful. The Carolina coast there. We've had Tony time. I mean, a bit of turtle time this morning, and John was remarking about how dynamic and dangerous the water looks. Those little baby turtles will be out in that before long. So great work along the coast there. The little baby turtles about to hatch by the sound of it. Superb. We're still sorting out Sue's in the chat there and what to do about overstaying the welcome. Keep us abreast of what's going on with that there, Sue's. And a message that I missed earlier on. Great to have Pam back with us, who says, I'm well now, thanks, after a few months of being ill. I didn't know that, Pam. I'm glad to hear you're back to embracing life now, and sounds like you're better. Ashmiliorish to you, Pam. Thanks for being here, and sorry to hear that you've not been well recently. I'm sure you've been missed around Alcobaça with all the good work you do there. What's going on here then? So Susan, Pete's taking care of business for Suze. That's fantastic. And John's list then, we'll come to that to learn about Portugal quiz question in a moment, because there's a real big connection between United States and Portugal this morning. That's in the Learn About Portugal quiz, as well, of course, with the missives sent from John over there at the moment as we come up to 10 o'clock this morning. Jackie from Expats Portugal will be joining us in the morning, of course, as well on the first Wednesday of every month. Michael Heron. Did you see the clip I made when he brought Tom along with him in a out of season for Heron? Wasn't the first Wednesday. He said, you've got to speak to this guy. So we did. It was the guy who flies people to desert islands. That's a clip in our YouTube channel at the moment, in case you missed it. What's new? So I love this. I think it was T-Duck who started this. When I say what's new, it's like New York, New Jersey, and old jokes. What's new? I asked John then. And he says, well, what's new in the USA so far? Floor carpeting. Americans. Does any of this resonate with you? Let me just carry on with the list here. Floor carpeting everywhere then. So not the tiles and not the boards and not the rugs, but wall to wall, I suppose, carpeting. Old-fashioned toilets with jiggle handles. I see. Okay. Old-fashioned cisterns and so on. Toilet bowls with a lagoon of water to do something in, whichever is your preference. Yeah, a lagoon of water, so quite a lot of flush power. A gajillion commercials on TV. Not surprised to hear that from my recollection of the United States. Traffic lights everywhere, no roundabouts. Low volume toilets. What is that? Are they quiet, or people are very quiet when they're in them? I wonder. Tipping. So back in the land of tipping, room-sized elevators, which reminds me of the Borat movie, when the guy says this room's a bit small. When Borat says to the bellhop, "This is a bit small." No, sir, this is the elevator. It's not your room. We're not there yet. You could park a smart car in some of the elevators that John's been in recently. Wood construction and nothing from concrete, stone, or brick. Excuse me. Right, I think a few more impressions and later lists that came in. This is an interesting one. Can we do anything about this? Men dressed like schlubs. Is that a schlub in public like they're 8 years old? I think the Brits can be a bit like that as well. Or is it just a male thing the world over these days? Gone are the days of looking like making the effort that Antonio Cabrera made. And as Pete says, good comb over, probably a very hairy back. But look, he's no slob, is he, or slouch? He makes sure, he probably has people to help him get dressed in the morning, to be fair. But those are the days when men made an effort, and not so much, apparently, in the United States at the moment. Men dressing like they're 8 years old. I did think that when I was at an airport. I suppose people dress down a bit, don't they? But the last time I flew back to the UK, I was thinking, all these guys in baseball caps all wanting to look like DJs. They're 50 years of age, for goodness sake. Come on! Put a suit on for flying. You might get upgraded. But that hasn't worked for me the last few times I've tried it. Sugary, sweet, sing-song public announcements like speaking to a baby. Okay, so a little bit paternalistic, perhaps. The PA, putting the PA in paternalistic, or vice versa. Air conditioning everywhere, no mold anywhere. Packaged food every place. Distances between places are so huge. Yeah. Nothing is old in the US. Free refills. We do have that, don't we? If you go to certain establishments in Portugal, John. But yeah, free refills. Probably with the coffee, right? Can I top you up? Most don't know. Oh, yes, please. Most don't know how to navigate roundabouts. If you do find them, people do not know how to properly drive on motorways. Back to AM, PM land, not the 24-hour clock. Understanding conversations around us. Now, that will be certainly a thing you'll notice, right? And that's part of what I like about not being able to speak Portuguese very well, is not knowing what's going on around me. But John's certainly able to do that back in the US. And lastly, bacon. You can get bacon here, John, but I know, it's not the same, is it? Fantastic. All right, let's go to that Learn About Portugal quiz. Cheers, John. Thank you for all the video clips. Hope you're having a superb time. And thank you for your list there, which I think are brilliant. Portuguese saying of the day. Oh, new comment came in 43 minutes ago. So where we used to have Portuguese sayings of the day, Antonio F is continuing with that baton that he picked up from T-Duck. And they are over here, which I'm going to show you now at learnaboutportugal.com. And what I'll do is I will put a link as well so that you can join us over there should you wish to. Let me just give you a very special invitation to join us should you care to learn more about Portugal in the chat right now, or just drop me a line and you'll be made most welcome over there and learn loads about Portugal every single day every weekday anyway. So let's have a look at the timeline and find today's, in case you were thrown. I am just asking the question there. I'm not putting the Learn About Portugal quiz and the date line. I'm actually asking the question now. So which of these stars is not of Portuguese ancestry? This is the Learn About Portugal quiz for the 1st of August then, 2023. Portuguese Americans, in Portuguese, that would be Português Americanos, also known as Luso-Americans. Luso-Americanos are citizens and residents of the United States who are connected to the country of Portugal by birth, ancestry, or citizenship, says Wikipedia. And there's a little bit of information about how far back some of these Portuguese people go. But in the 20th century, of these US music business stars, which of them is not of Portuguese ancestry? Would it be Joe Perry, lead guitarist and songwriter for the rock band Aerosmith? Would it be Katy Perry, singer and songwriter? Would it be Steve Perry, former lead singer of rock band Journey, Don't Stop Believing? Or Perry Como, singer, actor, and television personality? You can see videos of all of those and enjoy those for a moment. Aerosmith and Journey and Katy Perry, should you wish to, fireworks and magic moments. Look, you can almost hear that, can't you? You can smell it just looking at that visual on the screen there with Perry Como singing with the gang. Check that out then, make your guess and learn at learnaboutportugal.com there. Refill is a bottomless coffee. It's not necessarily the soda drinks. Thank you very much. Dancing, what's this? Okay, this is part of the instructions of how to extend your visa. Is there a dancing test as well as a language test? Okay, fair enough. They put on the and you have to dance like you're at a festa if you want your visa extended. That was a joke, just in case somebody's thinking, oh my God, really? No, not really. Let's have a quick look then at the dynasty weather this morning too. Let me find that for you. In fact, actually the weather you can find anytime you want to. Oh, and we've got still got World Cup coverage coming in the last few minutes of the game. I think a few Americans up early to watch the American women play against the Portuguese women. Let's go to the weather on our website. I had to turn it off earlier on because there were too many things being processed at the same time here on the Good Morning Portugal show. It was slowing everything down. But let me bring onto the screen for you now the weather here in Portugal. Let's see what's going on. It's remained very cool. My weather probe tells me it is currently 25 outside. So a humid day, I think, in the bay here, fair to say. Not too bright at the moment. I'm not talking about the presenter, talking about the weather. And it is it's 25 in the studio and 21 outside. Sorry, yeah, that was a spike in the temperature. So like a really comfortable day, like it was last night on the beach. It was really comfortable at around 7 o'clock to be on the beach. It was absolutely fantastic. A little light breeze and still very warm and humid, if you like that kind of thing. Let's have a look at it then. Dynasty Homes weather here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Lisbon, 22 degrees with a few clouds at the moment. That will rise to 27 today. Bit of cloud tomorrow if you want to get out and about, and that'll be a bit more comfortable for you. But be careful, of course, in Lisbon, getting out and about. Pope's on the road, along with entourage and youths from around the world who are there, of course, to join him. That'll be 72 at the moment then in Lisbon, with a few clouds rising to 81. Porto, 23 is the high today. It's a light, intense drizzle, currently 20. So cloudy and rainy for the next couple of days in Porto. Coimbra, 31. 31 the high today. Nice and warm in Central. The capital town of Central Portugal, right? Coimbra, or is that Castelo Branco? I don't know. Over to the west side anyway. Coimbra, 31 the high today, currently at 23 with a few clouds. Faro, 25 at the moment. Clear sky, sunny. Look at all those sunny days in the Algarve there for the rest of the week, rising to 30 later on today, as it will for the next 3 days. Braga in the north, then 29 the high, still very warm despite the higher what is it? Latitude, of course, 19 degrees, overcast clouds at the moment, 19 degrees, rising to 29 today. Any more outstanding temperatures? Well, Beja, 36 today will be the high. Castelo Branco, 35. Wow. Evra, 35. Leiria, a mere 27. Santarém, very comfortable at 31. And Viseu, also 31. Let's have a look at the islands, the autonomous regions. And in Madeira, we're looking at 17 today as the high, 15 at the moment with a few clouds. Azores, 26 with 24 at the moment with broken clouds. That's your weather from Dynasty Homes there. Let's have a look at a few final comments. Heronius Maximus, of course, with us tomorrow. Is there a link to the property? I don't find it on the website from Tony. Oh, okay. Facebook user. I will be making a video of that. Go to ask the agent, or just drop me a line, 913-590-303, and I'll make sure you get the link to that. I can't call it to mind or create it immediately, but I'll make sure you get it. Whoever you are, F you. That means Facebook user, nothing else. For every country, says Pete, what you bring is different, but go to the Junta, usually the post office, the Freguesia, right? Junta de Freguesia, and ask. They will tell you what you individually need, but show your Finland stuff first. Pete's going into the migration advisory business. Let us know how that goes. Sue's a cool 35 degrees in Fundão at the moment, but 39 Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Is that when you're working, Pete, mixing up cocktails? 39 degrees for you. That's the heat you'll be working in. Cheers, Pete. Thanks, everyone who's been here this morning and hanging out, having a bit of Tony time. Let's go all the way back. So that's what StreamYard, that's what you need. You asked me for feedback, StreamYard, and I think you need to go when you have a show where the community are as chatty as they are here on the Good Morning Portugal show. You need a button to take you back to the top of the dad jokes. Let's do those now. Thank you, T-Duck, for these. Oh, and I forgot the lies we tell our kids, the new feature, which was great fun yesterday. Counselling service is available for any grown-ups now who were children and told things such as by their parents, "We met in church." Did anyone actually say that here? Oh, and did I miss the God Squad tip of the day? I did. Let's do that now before we go to the dad jokes. And I can't believe I missed that. Sorry, Coach Turner. We did chat with you, but I'm not sure I saw this earlier on. God Squad tip of the day. Then it's 3 weeks since I last trained, and while the body has the opportunity to recover and repair all those little niggles, it also needs to get used to being under stress again. So some warming up needed, I think. There, yeah. I'll be starting gently and building up slowly over the next couple of weeks, not during the day, but over the next couple of weeks. Don't push it. Oh my goodness. Yesterday, I raced my lad into the sea. It was such a beautiful feeling. And I thought, I might pay for this. I haven't warmed up, but it's okay. Running on sand, running into the sea, skipping over the waves and diving head first. It was such a beautiful experience to race the kids into the sea. Absolutely fantastic. Cheers for that there. We'll come back to that football coverage. Okay. The result is, if you don't want to hear that, if you don't want to hear the spoiler, here's here is actually the result. So cover your ears up, look away now. Women's World Cup, still 0-0 in extra minutes. That was some while ago, 6 minutes to go at that point, with both teams who've really amped up their offenses. Final score then, it's a draw at 0-0. We didn't lose, said no American ever. Thank you for that, James. And then finally, dad jokes to go alongside the fabulous new feature, Lies We Tell Our Kids We Met in Church Today. If a bishop, I like this, papally themed dad jokes, papa jokes, you could say then. If a bishop eats half a donut, is it considered a partial indulgence? Very good. Is it obvious that atoms are Catholic, but not photons? Atoms have mass. Oh, very good. And if you need an arc, if it's raining where you are at the moment in Porto, I know a guy. Ouch! Cheers for that, T-Duck. Thank you for all you do. And thank you, everyone, for being part of this wonderful community, hanging out here just after 10 o'clock. And we'll be back, of course, tomorrow. Oh, Portugal Club members, see you tonight at 9. Can't wait to hang out with you. Portugal Club, if you want help and support moving to Portugal, we got that. We've absolutely got that. We're a once a week meeting online, chatting with people, celebrating milestones, troubleshooting. That's the easy bit in many ways. The very interesting bit to me and the very satisfying bit is working with people who are starting businesses or who run businesses in Portugal or projects. So if you need a little bit of community support, mentorship, maybe even a bit of accountability, perhaps the Portugal Club is for you. Drop me a line if you want to have a chat about joining us, or we have a community that runs constantly. We have our groups on school and on WhatsApp. But the focal point is the Tuesday evening, so we'll be doing that at 9 tonight. If you want to join the Portugal Club, drop me a line. You get all the GMP VIP benefits as well. Oh, and yes, you GMP VIPs, thank you for your constant support as well. Really appreciate you. Quite a few benefits, many of which not many of you take up. So if you want to review your list of GMP VIP benefits, you can do that at goodmorningportugal.com. Really appreciate you supporting the show in whichever way you do it. It all helps. And do take advantage of the benefits that you see there and sign up today for a mere €9 a month at gmpvip.com or goodmorningportugal.com. Take care. Here, have this round of applause. It's for you. You've been amazing. Ciao, ciao. See you tomorrow.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.